Hello everyone, I want to talk about death today. I know it's a little morbid to talk about our own death, but trust me, I think at the end of the day, if you can contemplate your own mortality, you can understand what a great motivator it can be. So I was seeing this tweet by this noble mindset underscore Twitter handle, and I was really inspired to talk about it once again. I have written about it, and I just wanted to go over a few concepts that we have to understand if we truly want to be motivated to live a great life when we are here and alive. So 25 biggest regrets at old age. So that is what the thread is. And I will leave this thread at the bottom of this video description for you to go over in detail. But I wanted to show you a few things that impressed me the most. So if you look down here, not doing more for others. I like the idea that this is number one on their list because it's, we live life so much about thinking about what we want, what we can do for ourselves, how we can be happy in the moment, what our future should look like and all that. But the biggest thing that makes us happy or gives us this satisfaction is what we can do for others and how we can contribute to others' lives. So not doing more for others, that is the number one regret that people have when they are approaching their death. Not being your authentic self. I love that number 1 and 2 which are the most important things, have been mentioned here. I'm grateful for that, because not being your authentic self. This is the biggest problem that I see in the world today, because especially in the world of social media, when we can be anything we want, we choose not to be ourselves and we want to be somebody else. We want to look like a celebrity. We want to wear clothes like somebody that we admire. We just forget comfort. We just forget what we want at the end of the day, and we keep chasing other people's definition of what happiness and joy and success look like. Okay, so the next one that I want to highlight is not being more adventurous and missing out on little moments. I see so many of us chasing the next thing that we have on our plate, but forgetting to live in this current moment that we have been offered. Missing out on the little moments, even for us as parents, just being with our children, instead of, just thinking that we'll take them to a nice vacation. All children really want is our presence, our attention, and not being more adventurous. Sometimes what we do is we play it way too safe. And that is when we miss out on, calculated risks can be taken. That is what makes our life adventurous. If everything is known, every aspect of our life is known, what is the fun in that, right? There has to be a little unknown that we have to be chasing once in a while. So I like these 4 points, and let me go over to my blog where I will show you what I have written about it. Contemplate death so you can live and give more. So scroll down a little bit here, and living is a team sport, dying is a team sport. Timothy Leary. So he's a psychologist and he wrote about this. So let me talk about the world that we live in right now. So our conversations around death are almost non-existent. Just like how we never talk about finances, never talk about health, we almost never talk about death. Because there is a taboo around that word, and it is really scary to, even think about us not being here. But here is a small exercise that I would like us to do. Let me show you where that is. Okay, so this is what I request you to do. So let us say I am sitting here in my office room. This is the place that I spend most of my day in, day out. So if I close my eyes right now and imagine this room without me forever, this space, this exercise ball that I'm sitting on right now, this microphone that I have in front of me, everything is still here but me. So just imagine that. And that is a possibility, right? That is a real possibility. So when you think of that, you think of the urgency with which you need to act. And that is where acceptance brings awareness of the impermanence. contemplating death can be a great motivator, because what happens is when we start talking about how we are here only as a guest on this planet and why are we here to make it a better place to live, we also do our loved ones a favor. We set our priorities right for whatever time we have left. Of course, nobody knows how much time we really have. None of us do, unless of course there is one situation that has been changing. We have been talking about it here on our blog, and I'll go over it in a second. So let us see what are the different emotions before death that people face. So I have been fortunate enough to be in the presence of my loved ones when they were passing away a few years ago. So the emotions that they go through: denial, anger, resignation, acceptance, grace that sometimes it might never happen, because panic might set in, total panic might set in. So even when we are contemplating our own mortality, we can go through these kind of emotions. We might never come to the point of accepting that this might be our end, but we can still continue to live a well-defined life, an intentional life, if we choose to. So I'm asking you to go about seeing, reading books and understanding how life around us has been changing. This first time in 2014, I heard of what was the Right to Die Act. And Brittany Maynard, one of the assisted suicide champions at that time, she actually had a terminal diagnosis of cancer, and she understood that the quality of life that she will be having was just not going to be worth it for herself and for those who loved her. So she decided to end it early, and at that point, I think Seattle was one of the few states that has it in the US, the Right to Die Act, where you can opt for assisted living in a palliative care center. And she decided to consume some pills and pass away at her own will. So a lot of things are changing around us. Atul Gawande talked about being mortal. It's an amazing book and an article. I highly recommend you to do that. When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. He is just an amazing autobiographer. He wrote his book in the last year of his life. And so did Nina Riggs. She's the great granddaughter of Ralph Waldo Emerson. I request you to please read these works and try to understand how people are living and dying, and how you can also challenge yourself to live a great legacy. Thank you.